I want to speak to you this morning about the power of a village. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in this room is familiar with the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. But today, I would like to ask each and everyone in this room, what village are we referring to? Who is this child that the village raises? How does the child get raised in this village? What happens when the child grows up? Does the child outgrow the village? Does he remain in the village? And if he leaves, does he ever return to the village? My story, ladies and gentlemen, is about that very child. A child raised in one of the poorest households in my community. I grew up in a dilapidated home with no running water, no electricity, and we used an outside toilet. My childhood was not filled with comfort, but with the struggle for survival. I was raised mostly by a single parent who worked as a waitress. I saw at first hand the weight of poverty. But something remarkable happened. The village raised me. Kind-hearted strangers, especially the elderly in our community, will stop by. They'll offer us food. They'll offer us clothing. Some will even offer to come in and pray with us. They shared the little they had, asking for nothing in return. That is the power of a village. So I made a promise. I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to my family. And I made a promise to God. I vowed that whenever I get an opportunity to advance myself, I will not only change my own circumstances, but I will give back to the village that raised me. So in 2012, I founded the Collen Mashawana Foundation, mostly referred to as CMF, an NGO that will become the vehicle for fulfilling my promise. Our foundation focuses on assisting those who are often forgotten by society, starting with the elderly citizens who have no one to take care of them. We look after people that are living with disabilities, who need support, dignity, and inclusion. Lastly, we look after child-headed families where young children take on responsibility beyond their years. So for the past 12 years, we have traveled across the entire South Africa, meeting individuals who had lost hope, individuals who had lost dignity and faith in a better future. We did not just listen to their stories. We acted. So what did we do? Let me tell you what happens when a child who was raised in the village returns to the village. From a housing perspective, we've built hundreds of houses or hundreds of homes for the elderly citizens. We've built homes for families living in poverty and individuals that are living with disabilities. We build homes that are between 40 and 80 square meters. We donate the homes with ceiling, we donate them with tiles, with running water, with electricity. Some of those homes are donated with solar lights and JoJo tanks. These are not just structures, they are restorations of dignity. In relation to water security, we have drilled boreholes and provided clean water to communities in dire need. Those communities include Hammanskraal, it includes Giyani, where water scarcity has caused suffering and even loss of life. During COVID-19, we personally delivered food relief to more than 15,000 families, ensuring that they did not go to bed hungry. When it comes to job creation, we've created over 10,000 job opportunities for young people, providing them with the tools to shape their own futures. Education, we continue to support orphans and disadvantaged children. We take them to schools, ensuring that poverty does not steal their potential. We support a number of schools, including the school where I learned how to read and write. We are currently on a roadshow as we speak, where we are supplying furniture, chairs and tables, school shoes to schools that are in disadvantaged areas. We support various centers that take care of the elderly and frail individuals, because we believe that no one should spend their final years in loneliness and neglect. But ladies and gentlemen, we did not do this alone. Just like a child needs a village to grow, an NGO needs a village of partners to make an impact. 2 years ago, for the first time, we opened our doors to partnerships and collaborations. And we saw what happens when corporates and non-profit work together. Old Mutual, IDC, and recently West Bank each donated 10 houses, allowing us to provide shelter to those in need. We have been leading efforts to relocate flood victims in KZN, moving people from temporary shelters, moving them from halls, from churches, into newly built homes. We are still actively rebuilding that region, ensuring that no family is left behind. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the proof that when we work together, we can change lives, we can restore dignity, and we can rebuild hope. But despite all we have done, poverty remains one of the most powerful forces stealing the potential of our children. It has turned future doctors and leaders into statistics. It has driven some into crime, some into substance and alcohol abuse, and some even to mental health struggles. It has buried dreams before they even had the chance to live. And let us be clear, poverty is not just an economic issue, it is a moral issue. It is a societal challenge, a challenge that requires the involvement of each and every one of us. We cannot afford to leave this problem entirely to government. We cannot wait for someone else to fix the societal challenges that we face every day. If we do, we will lose more generations to the cycle of poverty. So I ask you today, what will you do? What legacy will you leave? Will you be the village child who returns to give back? Just like the Collen Mashawana Foundation, there are many unsung heroes who have dedicated their lives to helping their villages. Some of those unsung heroes are in this room with us this morning. Some run soup kitchens in their communities that have been forgotten. Others provide free sanitary pads to young girls who cannot afford them. Many offer shelter and support to victims of gender-based violence. But many of these NGOs, non-profit organizations, pour from an empty glass, fueled not by wealth, but by the heartfelt commitment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what true impact looks like. Now I say this to our business leaders who are in this room this morning. CSI must not be about ticking the box as indicated earlier on by Professor Taban. It must be about changing lives. It must be measured not by how much we give, but how much we change. It must move beyond charity and into sustainability. It must empower the village child to one day return and give back. Because true transformation happens when every village child is empowered to take care of those who raise them. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm about to conclude, I would like to ask that we become the generation that did not wait. Let us be the leaders who did not just talk, but the leaders that acted. Because the truth is, no government, no business, and no NGO alone can fix what is broken. But together we can. We can restore dignity. We can lift families out of poverty. We can change the future of South Africa. And so, I leave you with this final thought. Our power is not what we take from the world, but in what we give back to the world. Let us give back. Let us build. Let us be the village that nurtures its children so that one day they too, just like Collen Mashawana, may return to build a better tomorrow. I thank you.